Aries. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this message resonates with you, please, please, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. I'm just getting started, and every little bit of help counts. Aries. Okay, so we have the fault line, the orphan, the mother, the temple, the medallion, and the vow. I don't know, Aries. This energy is like, it feels like this like very massive pendulum, but that kind of comes from this, I want to say like this breaking down of fear. I mean, the fault line is the idea that it's like one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing, like anybody else got some things they want to throw my way, let's just go ahead and expedite this journey. It's kind of like the energy behind that. It feels like a challenge almost. But like in a positive way, because like who doesn't want to break out of the bullshit? But I mean, the fault line with the orphan and the mother, I mean, you guys have had in your reads kind of this idea of navigating the idea of emotion and what does it mean when I feel this way, and if I feel this way, do I act on it? I feel like it's just kind of this like, and this might not be for all of my Aries, but take what resonates and leave the rest. These are general reads. It feels like there's this idea of aggression, just kind of like this, or like emotion. I was watching this show. I've been like on this fantasy kick. But I love all of the moral that you find in story. I think it's fascinating, and it's beautiful to kind of study the way that like pop culture addresses it. And in one of the episodes, one of the characters, she had removed fear from her head. And so she no longer acted with any fear, but as a result, she acted very impulsively. And I feel like that's kind of this, like what you've been sorting through is this, like, how do I know when I'm acting impulsively versus when I'm acting, from like a sound place of judgment. And I kind of feel like it's one of those things where like sometimes like hindsight's 2020, and we do things over and over and over again until we start to realize like, well, this seems to be like the common thread in a lot of the issues that I have, and this is kind of like a trigger reaction that's caused this. So if I'm not acting from a trigger, if I'm not acting from a place of rashness, then I am able to more fully, I want to say, acknowledge when to move. Because, right, hasn't that been like a thing? Like, when do I move? And it's like, well, you need to kind of sit with your emotions. You need to figure out how you feel about things, and and if there's a pattern that you're playing out in your life, how it is that pattern has exhibited itself, and how it is that you can transition away from that. And the temple is the idea of like whatever it is that you think that you worship, go ahead and stick it in your back pocket, because it's not. And I kind of want to say that this plays into the idea of, and this could be, I mean, this could resonate in a number of ways. This could be a relationship. This could be, your work environment. This could be, just friendships in general. But it's just kind of this idea of like, whatever it is that you think that you really value in those situations is actually not what you value. And I think that when you've made decisions in the past, you've made them as value decisions toward things that didn't actually meet your values, because your values were aligned with your fear of rejection and of abandonment. And if you are afraid of rejection and abandonment always, then you accept things that are beneath you, because things that are beneath you will not reject you, right? And it's a thing that we all do. Like I can count me on that one. Like fuck with people who are just like, I know that they won't disappoint me because they're already a disappointment to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry to any of my exes. But like honestly, I've been single for so long now because it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I already know like all of the bad things are going to come along with this one, so I'm not even going to bother. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like instead of taking pride in the fact that you're not going to bother because you already know what to expect with this shit, maybe redirect your focus towards what it is that you want because it's aligned with you and how it's aligned with you, not aligned with your trauma, not aligned with your compulsive tendencies. Because I think that it's just this idea of like that's what's keeping you from going for what it is that you really want, what it is that you promised yourself, right? Because it's like, okay, I can get into a cycle in life where I sell myself short because it means that I don't have to try, but not to try is not to fail, right? And so I feel like there comes a point in time where you start to recognize the fact that if you're never going to succeed if you never try, and you've made all of your decisions because you didn't actually want to have to try, and now you're really having to kind of readjust your mentality around that. Aries. Like I said, this could be, like work, friendships, like romantic relationships. But honestly, like as above, so below. Like if it plays out in one area of your life, guaranteed it's playing out in every other area of your life. Probably with relationships and work and friendships. And you're just like, fuck. You know what I mean? Okay. The World and the Two of Cups. Well, I mean, we're going to kind of say that this is leaning towards romance. Again, it could be something that you just really love, someone that you love, a project that you love. Take it how it resonates. But it's just kind of this idea of like the end of selling yourself short. Let's do more clarifiers. Because I mean, like the world is the end of a cycle, and everything that we were just talking about is the idea of the end of a cycle. It's kind of like it played itself out enough for you to really understand why it wasn't going to work. So what you're really wanting to go toward is companionship, partnership, community, love, relationships, like but sincere relationships. Because when you go like this through relationships, you don't really take the time to develop that level of intimacy, right? And it's not to say Aries that you guys aren't able to commit or haven't been able to commit in the past or aren't currently committed. It's just to say that I think by nature you tend to be you're the beginning, right? You're the babies of the zodiac, and so you're more like concentrated on your own personal needs, your own personal drive, right? Like what is it that I want? What is it that I like? What is it that I need? And you have to really take yourself outside of you if you want to engage in something that is, I want to say, just like healthy in general, whether it's like again a work environment or a relationship. It's just this idea that if you want for something to be healthy, then you have to acknowledge the other person in this. Like you have to see it outside of you. And I feel like when you what this is saying is that when you've gotten into relationships in the past, you've only seen them as ways that they could benefit you. Like this person is good for me because of this, this, and this. Well, great, but why are you good for that person? Is there a level of compatibility, or do they just, meet your basic needs and serve your ego, right? Whether that's, well, they pay me enough, it's fine, it's whatever, like I'm not unhappy, I'm not happy, like, but just kind of like, but like you're unhappy because everything you're talking about is this, oh, I'm not unhappy, oh, it's okay. Well, you know what I mean? And it just kind of starts to, it's like speaking that energy around you of like an energy of discontent. King of Wands and Temperance. Well, I mean, this is just kind of the idea of like a call to action and going toward your like a more sincere balance. Again, just playing into the idea of like, well, if it's just okay, if it's just this, if it's just that, well, it chased me and I didn't have to chase it. So guess that's what I'm going to take because that's what I'm going to get. Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, And obviously you can be on either side of the fence. But I do kind of get the feeling of this, like, of a need to, I want to say, just like a place of recognition, right? A recognition of your own personal boundaries, your own personal limits, your own personal, why is it that you attract these types of people to you? Why is it that you work these types of jobs? Why is it that it always feels like it's just not quite enough? Because I feel like there's a question here of, is it just because it's convenient and easy? And convenience and accessibility do not equal quality. you know, and I want to say, just like, find the strength to really guide yourself, like, go through the process of this acknowledgement, because I feel like this is something that you're starting to figure out, but it's something that you're starting to figure out because I want to say, like, things aren't coming to you the way that they once did. You are having to go after the things that you want rather than having them just like fall into your lap. You can be on either side of the story, take what resonates and leave the rest. But I feel like it's just this idea of like, well, I accepted less because it was easy. I didn't have to challenge myself. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to do that. And all the things you didn't have to do. But all the things that you didn't have to do didn't really play out that well for you because, like, it didn't amount to anything. And Aries, you're like action oriented, right? And so you need things that are going to amount to something. But if there's a fear element involved because of these issues that you've been trying to overcome, then that's kind of like where I feel like you're at right now. It's just this, like, going through the process of, why is it that I draw these types of people to me? Why is it I draw this type of environment to me? How is it that I perpetuate the creation of it? So that when it's time for me to actually go towards something that I want, I'm not using all of the bullshit to hold me back from going for it. Because let's be honest, you accepted bullshit because you didn't have to try. And that's not like a, because you're a bad person, you're lazy. It's because you have fear. You're operating from fear. You're operating from a place of figuring things out for yourself, right? Like, sometimes you have to go through the cycle before you understand the cycle. Going through the cycle and gaining understanding in a cycle does not make you a bad person. If you stay in the cycle and you never learn from it and you never grow and you never change, that's when you've got a problem. But going through the process itself is not a bad thing. I think we should talk about it more. Then maybe everybody would like stop being so offended all of the time. But not that's not my issue to conquer today. So, if this resonates with you, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. Please remember, these are general reads. You can be on either side of the story. Not everything will resonate. Take what resonates and leave the rest. I am doing personal reads now. If you're interested in booking a personal read with me, please click the link in the description box below. If this is where we part ways, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.